What separates those who rise to greatness from those who remain stuck in the same place year after year? Is it luck? Is it background? Is it talent? Or is it something deeper, something invisible, yet powerful enough to shape every choice, every opportunity, and every result? The truth is, it's mindset. The way you think determines the life you live. Most people look at the rich and assume it's all about money, but money is only the effect. The real cause is how they think. A poor mindset looks at life through the lens of limits. It whispers, I can't. It's too risky. It's not for me. A rich mindset looks at life through the lens of possibility. It asks, how can I? What can I learn? Where is the opportunity? This difference might sound small, but it changes everything. Think about it. Two people can face the exact same challenge, yet one sees nothing but a wall while the other sees a door. One walks away defeated, while the other keeps searching until they find a way through. It's not the world that is different, it's the mindset. And that mindset shapes your entire destiny. Science confirms this. Neuroscience has proven that the thoughts you repeat create patterns in your brain. If you constantly think in scarcity, your brain becomes wired to filter life through fear, lack, and hesitation. Every decision becomes smaller. Every opportunity feels out of reach. But when you train yourself to think in abundance, your brain builds new pathways. You start spotting opportunities, taking action, and creating results you once thought were impossible. This isn't fantasy, it's biology. Your brain literally rewires itself to match the mindset you practice. The poor mindset waits. It waits for certainty, for permission, for perfect conditions. But perfect conditions never come. The rich mindset moves. It understands that clarity is not something you wait for. It is something you create by taking the first step. The poor mindset fears losing. The rich mindset accepts loss as the price of growth. One avoids pain. The other uses pain as a teacher. This is why two people can start with the same resources and end up in completely different places. One clings to what little they have, never daring to stretch beyond their comfort zone. The other embraces risk, learns from mistakes, and keeps building until the vision becomes real. Success isn't a mystery, it's a mindset. Here's the reward for you. When you begin to shift your mindset, your entire world shifts with it. You stop seeing yourself as powerless and start seeing yourself as capable. You stop waiting for opportunity and start creating it. You stop measuring your worth by what you have and start defining it by who you are becoming. And as you grow, the results in your life grow with you. This is why you must stay, listen, and absorb every word that follows. Because the difference between a rich mindset and a poor mindset is the difference between living trapped in limits and living free in possibility. The difference between struggle and growth. The difference between staying where you are and becoming who you were meant to be. Your mindset is your greatest wealth or your greatest poverty. The question is, which one are you choosing today? Scarcity whispers to you every day, and most people don't even realize they are listening. It says there isn't enough time, there isn't enough money, there aren't enough opportunities. It convinces you that someone else's success somehow steals from your own. It keeps you stuck in fear, protecting crumbs instead of building the feast. Scarcity is a prison of the mind, and the bars are made of your own beliefs. Abundance speaks a different language. It doesn't deny challenges, but it refuses to believe in limits. It says resources can be created, skills can be learned, opportunities can be built. Abundance doesn't wait for the world to hand out blessings. It creates them through effort, vision, and persistence. And the difference between these two voices, scarcity and abundance, is the difference between a life that shrinks and a life that expands. Scarcity breeds fear. When you live in scarcity, every decision feels like a threat. Giving feels dangerous because you believe it leaves you with less. Risk feels terrifying because you believe loss is permanent. Failure feels unbearable because you believe it defines you. This is why people with a poor mindset cling to safety. They spend more time protecting what they have than creating what they want. Abundance, however, flips the entire perspective. Giving feels powerful because you know it returns multiplied. Risk feels necessary because you understand every step builds strength. Failure feels valuable because you see it as the tuition for growth. People with a rich mindset don't fear loss because they know they can always create again. They don't fear risk because they know progress only comes through action. They don't fear competition because they see life as collaboration. Psychology proves this. Studies show that people who cultivate gratitude and focus on abundance are more resilient, more creative, and more successful in the long run. Their brains actually search for solutions instead of excuses. They recover faster from setbacks. They persevere longer through challenges. Abundance doesn't just feel good, it builds endurance. It creates a foundation where growth becomes automatic. When you think in scarcity, you train your mind to see the world as a zero-sum game. You believe there's only one pie, and every slice someone else takes leaves you with less. But the rich mindset doesn't fight for a slice. It learns how to bake another pie. It learns how to build, expand, and multiply. And that is why abundance creates freedom, because it breaks the illusion that life is limited. Every choice you make feeds one of these mindsets. Every decision either strengthens the cage or opens the door. When you choose scarcity, you choose fear, hesitation, and smallness. When you choose abundance, you choose courage, growth, and possibility. The future you create depends on which mindset you feed. This is the shift that will transform your life. Once you refuse to believe in scarcity, you stop competing and start creating. You stop clinging and start building. You stop asking, what if there isn't enough? And start declaring, I will create more than enough. That shift is where freedom begins. That shift is the first step to building a life that expands instead of contracts. And that shift is the choice you can make right now. The difference between those who stay trapped and those who break free is not found in the present moment, but in how they see the future. A poor mindset is chained to the short term. It craves quick comfort, instant gratification, and the illusion of relief. It asks, what will make me feel good right now? And that question leads to decisions that steal from tomorrow to satisfy today. The poor mindset spends without thinking, chooses distraction over discipline, and sacrifices growth for comfort. The rich mindset moves differently. It doesn't ignore the present, but it refuses to let the present blind the future. It asks, what will this decision create in 5 years, 10 years? Who will I become if I stay consistent? This question unlocks a level of vision that transforms everything. The rich mindset accepts discomfort now in exchange for freedom later. It sacrifices instant pleasure for long-term power. Science has proven this truth. Behavioral studies on delayed gratification reveal that those who can resist the temptation of short-term rewards consistently achieve greater success, not just in finances, but in health, relationships, and personal fulfillment. It is not intelligence that separates them. It is not talent. It is the ability to think beyond the moment, to endure temporary struggle in order to create lasting strength. A poor mindset spends money on symbols of success to feel accepted now, while quietly building chains of debt and regret for the future. A rich mindset uses money to plant seeds, to invest in growth, to create assets that generate freedom tomorrow. A poor mindset wastes time on endless distractions, chasing entertainment as a way to escape reality. A rich mindset invests time in learning, building, and planning, so reality itself transforms into something worth living. The gap between these two choices may look small today, but over years, it grows into an ocean that separates who thrives from who merely survives. The poor mindset says, I can't wait, and because of that, it never has enough. The rich mindset says, I can wait, I can build, I can endure, and because of that, it creates more than enough. Every hour you spend, every dollar you use, every choice you make is either pulling you closer to freedom or pushing you deeper into chains. Time is always compounding. Decisions are always multiplying. And the vision you hold determines where that compounding leads. When you think only of today, you limit yourself to survival. When you think of tomorrow, you step into creation. The world rewards those who see beyond the moment. Because the truth is, the future does not belong to those who live for comfort. The future belongs to those who can look past the noise, resist the temptation of the easy path, and build with patience, discipline, and vision. The horizon you walk toward is shaped by the vision you hold today. If you only look down at your feet, you stumble. If you keep your eyes on the bigger picture, you walk with power. And the bigger that picture becomes, the bigger your life becomes with it. The future is already being written in your choices right now. The question is, are you building a tomorrow that frees you, or are you trading your future away for the comfort of today? Fear is the barrier that separates the life you have from the life you want. It is the invisible wall that stops most people before they even begin. A poor mindset surrenders to fear. It waits for fear to disappear before taking action, not realizing that waiting only makes fear grow stronger. The longer you hesitate, the bigger the shadow becomes. The rich mindset sees fear for what it is, a signal that you are stepping into new territory. It understands that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward in spite of it. Fear magnifies problems. It makes obstacles look larger than they are. It paralyzes creativity and convinces you that trying is dangerous. This is why so many never break free. They live small lives, not because they lack ability, but because they allow fear to dictate their choices. A poor mindset hears the question, "What if I fail?" and takes it as a warning to stop. A rich mindset hears the same question and flips it into fuel, asking, "What if I succeed? What if I learn? What if this is the step that changes everything?" Psychology shows that when you face fear with action, your brain rewires itself. What once felt impossible begins to feel normal. Fear shrinks the more you confront it, while courage expands every time you use it. This is how leaders, innovators, and builders rise above the crowd, not because they never feel fear, but because they refuse to bow to it. They turn fear into a compass that points toward growth. A poor mindset protects itself by avoiding risk. It hides from challenges because they expose weakness. But this avoidance only guarantees one thing: staying stuck. A rich mindset accepts risk as the price of progress. It understands that every failure holds a lesson, every setback carries wisdom, and every obstacle reveals strength. The poor mindset says, "I can't handle losing." The rich mindset says, "Loss is how I grow stronger." Fear will always be there. It is part of being human. But whether it becomes a prison or a pathway depends on your response. The truth is simple. If you wait until fear is gone, you will wait forever. If you move while fear is present, you transform it into power. That is why every breakthrough begins with a step taken while afraid. Your dreams are waiting on the other side of the fears you are unwilling to face. The greater the fear, the greater the growth it hides. The poor mindset will keep you safe, but safety will also keep you small. The rich mindset asks more of you. It demands courage, persistence, and faith, and in return, it gives you freedom. Fear is not a stop sign, it is a signal that you are heading in the right direction. The choice is yours. Remain comfortable in the cage of fear, or walk through it into the life you were meant to build. The way you use your resources reveals the truth about your mindset. A poor mindset spends. It spends money to feel good now. It spends time to escape reality. It spends energy on complaints and excuses. Everything becomes a transaction for temporary relief. But spending is fleeting. It leaves you with nothing lasting, nothing that grows. A rich mindset invests. It invests money to multiply, invests time to learn, invests energy to create. Every choice becomes a seed planted for a greater harvest. This single difference creates two very different lives. The poor mindset sees money as something to use quickly before it disappears. It buys status symbols to appear successful while silently building chains of debt and dependence. It treats money as a tool for comfort, and as a result, money becomes its master. The rich mindset sees money as a servant. It understands that every dollar can work, every dollar can grow, every dollar can open doors if directed with purpose. That's why the rich don't rush to spend. They position money to build freedom. This truth applies far beyond finances. Look at time. A poor mindset spends hours in distractions, scrolling, escaping, consuming. Days turn into weeks, weeks into years, and nothing changes. A rich mindset invests hours in growth, reading, learning, building, creating. Those small investments compound over years into skills, opportunities, and freedom. The poor mindset wonders why life never changes, while the rich mindset is constantly changing life through intentional investment. Energy works the same way. A poor mindset wastes energy on negativity, anger, and blame. It drains itself with complaints about what cannot be controlled. A rich mindset invests energy in solutions, in creativity, in action. One leaves you exhausted and empty. The other leaves you stronger and closer to your vision. Psychology confirms this principle. Research on compounding habits shows that even the smallest investments, when repeated consistently, create exponential results over time. Whether in health, wealth, or personal growth, consistent investment multiplies far beyond what looks possible in the beginning. This is why wealthy and successful people don't think in terms of spending. They think in terms of planting, building, and compounding. The poor mindset is always asking, what will this give me now? The rich mindset asks, what will this build for me later? That one question reshapes your decisions, and your decisions reshape your destiny. Every purchase, every choice, every use of your time or energy is either consumption or investment. One diminishes, the other multiplies. One takes, the other gives back. You hold that power at every moment. You can spend today in distraction, or you can invest today in growth. You can spend your money to escape discomfort, or you can invest it to buy freedom later. You can spend your energy on excuses, or you can invest it into building the life you dream of. The difference is not in what you have, but in how you use it. True wealth is not built in what you consume, it is built in what you create. Every act of investment is a declaration of faith in your future, and every act of spending without thought is a surrender to the present. The choice is always yours. Consume your potential or invest in your transformation. The most dangerous habit of a poor mindset is the endless creation of excuses. Excuses feel safe. They protect the ego from failure, they soften the pain of disappointment, and they provide a convenient reason for staying the same. But every excuse you make is a chain around your potential. It binds you to the life you have and robs you of the life you could create. Excuses sound harmless, but they are poison disguised as comfort. A rich mindset does not tolerate excuses, it embraces responsibility. Responsibility is not about blame, it is about power. The moment you take full ownership of your actions, your choices, and your results, you step into control. You may not control everything that happens to you, but you always control how you respond, and that response decides whether you stay stuck or rise higher. Psychologists call this the locus of control. People with an external locus believe life happens to them. They see themselves as victims of circumstance, powerless to change their outcomes. People with an internal locus believe they can influence their life through effort, decisions, and persistence. They see challenges not as final verdicts, but as problems to be solved. This difference in belief alone is one of the strongest predictors of success. A poor mindset leans on excuses like, I wasn't given the chance, I don't have the resources, it's not my fault. But those excuses quietly strip away power, leaving nothing but helplessness. A rich mindset says, I will create the chance, I will find the resources, I will make it my responsibility. This shift transforms frustration into fuel. It transforms obstacles into opportunities. Excuses feel lighter in the moment, but they weigh heavier over a lifetime. Responsibility feels heavier in the moment, but it makes you lighter in the future. Excuses protect your pride, but destroy your progress. Responsibility challenges your pride, but unlocks your growth. Every time you say, it's not my fault, you surrender your future to someone else. Every time you say, it's my responsibility, you reclaim your power to change. Think about what responsibility truly means. It means refusing to wait for someone else to fix your life. It means holding yourself accountable for your habits, your mindset, and your actions. It means being honest enough to admit when you fall short and strong enough to rise and try again. It is the opposite of denial. It is the essence of power. The poor mindset avoids responsibility because it exposes flaws, weaknesses, and effort. The rich mindset embraces responsibility because it builds strength, resilience, and control. The poor mindset hides behind excuses because it wants protection. The rich mindset steps into responsibility because it seeks transformation. Every time you choose responsibility, you unlock another level of freedom. You prove to yourself that you are not a victim of chance. You are the author of your story. Excuses may feel safe, but they are the slowest form of self-destruction. Responsibility may feel demanding, but it is the fastest path to self-creation. The moment you stop explaining why you can't and start owning what you can, everything changes. Responsibility is not a burden. It is the key to power, and it is waiting for you to pick it up. Comfort is the silent enemy of growth. It lulls you into believing that safety is success, when in truth, safety is the slowest form of decline. A poor mindset worships comfort. It avoids challenges, avoids struggle, avoids anything that threatens to expose weakness. It builds a life that feels easy, but easy eventually becomes empty. The rich mindset chooses the harder path. It leans into discomfort, knowing that Growth only happens when you step outside the familiar. It understands that every great achievement is born from stretching beyond what feels safe. Growth is uncomfortable because it demands change. It asks you to shed old habits, to release limiting beliefs, to face the parts of yourself you'd rather ignore. It asks you to walk into the unknown without guarantees. That's why so many stay in comfort. It feels easier to remain the same. But comfort is deceptive. While it shields you from pain in the moment, it quietly robs you of strength, resilience, and progress. Growth is painful in the moment, but it forges you into someone stronger, wiser, and capable of more than you ever imagined. Psychologists call this the growth mindset, the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort and perseverance. Those who embrace this truth rise because they see every challenge as a chance to expand. They know failure is not proof of limitation, but evidence of learning. Those who reject it remain fixed, believing they are stuck with what they have, trapped in a cycle of repeating the same patterns. A poor mindset avoids change because it fears loss. It fears losing comfort, losing pride, losing control. But that fear guarantees stagnation. A rich mindset embraces change because it sees transformation. It knows that loss is not the end, but the beginning of something greater. Where others see uncertainty, it sees potential. Where others see risk, it sees growth. Comfort whispers lies like, stay here, you're safe. Don't try, it might hurt. Don't push, it might fail. Growth whispers truth, push forward and you'll become more. Step higher and you'll discover who you really are. Endure the struggle and you'll unlock strength you never knew existed. The poor mindset listens to the whisper of comfort and settles for less. The rich mindset listens to the call of growth and dares to rise. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you shrink your future. You tell yourself you can't, and eventually, you believe it. Every time you choose growth over comfort, you expand your future. You prove to yourself that you are capable, and with each step, you rise higher. Comfort is the path of least resistance, but growth is the path of transformation. Your potential does not live in comfort. It lives in the struggle, in the risk, in the challenges that demand more of you than you think you have. The poor mindset clings to the present, but the rich mindset sacrifices the present to build the future. Comfort may give you rest, but only growth will give you freedom. And the freedom you seek is waiting on the other side of the discomfort you've been avoiding. The difference between rich and poor has never been about money. It has always been about mindset. Money is only a mirror. It reflects the way you think, the way you act, and the way you choose to respond to life. If you think in scarcity, your life will always feel like there is not enough. If you think in abundance, your life will always expand into more than enough. If you live for comfort, your potential will remain trapped. If you live for growth, your potential will keep unfolding. Everything comes back to the way you train your mind. The poor mindset seeks escape, excuses, and certainty. It clings to safety, even when that safety is nothing more than a cage. It waits for someone else to change the circumstances, someone else to provide the opportunity, someone else to take responsibility. But waiting keeps you powerless. The rich mindset refuses to wait. It sees challenges as fuel, mistakes as teachers, and risks as stepping stones. It takes ownership of every decision, not because it is easy, but because ownership is the only path to freedom. Every single breakthrough begins with a shift in thinking. The way you see yourself defines the way you live. If you see yourself as limited, you will shrink from every challenge. If you see yourself as capable, you will grow from every challenge. If you believe life happens to you, you will stay a victim. If you believe life happens for you, you will rise as a creator. Your brain is not fixed. Neuroscience proves it rewires itself based on the thoughts you repeat and the actions you take. Every time you choose abundance over scarcity, every time you choose courage over fear, every time you choose growth over comfort, you are literally reshaping your brain for success. You are programming yourself for strength, for resilience, for freedom. Your life is not the product of chance. It is the product of patterns. Change the pattern, and you change everything. But change requires decision. No one drifts into a rich mindset by accident. It is a choice you make daily, a discipline you practice in your thoughts, your words, and your actions. It is saying no to excuses, no to distractions, no to the illusion of safety, and saying yes to vision, yes to responsibility, Yes to the challenge that forces you to grow. The poor mindset fears effort because it only sees struggle. The rich mindset values effort because it knows effort creates transformation. The poor mindset looks at the future with doubt. The rich mindset looks at the future with faith. Both are looking at the same world, but one sees chains while the other sees freedom. You must decide which lens you will use. You must decide whether you will keep repeating the patterns that hold you down or adopt the patterns that lift you higher. Because the truth is this: wealth, success, and freedom are not built outside of you, they are built within you. They start in your thoughts, they grow in your actions, and they compound in your habits. The battle between rich and poor is not being fought in your bank account, it is being fought in your mind. And the moment you claim victory in your mindset, everything else will follow.